Effective immediately. HR is waiting downstairs. That's all Austin Lawson said before he dropped the termination notice on my desk and walked out. No handshake, no explanation, just a piece of paper that would blow up a $320 million merger in exactly 60 hours. He had no idea what he'd just triggered. I'm Dave Patterson, 54 years old, and I just got fired from Patriot Defense Systems after 25 years of my life. The notice was on expensive letterhead, the kind they use when they want to make firing you look official. My name at the top, termination date stamped right across the middle. I checked my watch, 2 p.m. sharp on a Monday. My $180,000 performance bonus was scheduled to hit Thursday at 2 p.m., exactly 60 hours from now. Austin thought he was being smart. Cut me loose before payday, save the company money. What he didn't know was that bonus wasn't just money. It was a trigger connected to something that would destroy everything he'd been bragging about for months. The chest pain hit me right then, sharp and sudden. I reached for the bottle of metoprolol in my desk drawer and dry swallowed a pill. The cardiologist had warned me about stress spikes, but this was different. This was 25 years of loyalty getting flushed down the drain by a kid who'd never spent a day in the trenches. Here's what you need to understand. That $180,000 was tied to a clause written 15 years ago by Colonel James Henderson, the company founder. Hawk was old-school Air Force, the kind of man who believed loyalty went both ways and your word meant everything. When he wrote that clause into my contract, he made sure nobody could ever steal what we'd built together. The clause was simple but bulletproof. Once that bonus paid out, full ownership of our Guardian protocol, the core defense system, would automatically transfer to me. Not symbolically, legally. And without Guardian protocol, Patriot had nothing to offer Fortress Security Group in their merger. Austin had just armed a bomb he didn't know existed. I signed the termination papers without saying a word. My hands were steadier than I expected, even with the adrenaline coursing through my system. I stood up, grabbed my jacket, and headed for the elevator. HR was waiting downstairs like I was some kind of security threat. I nodded at the 2 guards and kept walking. On my desk, I left a small flash drive. I saw Austin glance at it when I passed his office. He probably thought it contained my backups, proof he'd secured everything important. That drive had been empty for years. Every real backup, every line of Guardian protocol code was locked behind biometric encryption that only I could access from my home systems. I got in my truck and drove home through Northern Virginia traffic. Normal Monday afternoon, people heading home from work, nobody knowing that in 60 hours the biggest defense merger of the year would collapse because a 32-year-old MBA thought he knew better than someone with 25 years in the trenches. The drive gave me time to think. Sarah's wedding was 8 months away, and we'd already put down $15,000 on the venue. Tommy was a junior in high school with SAT prep and college visits coming up. The mortgage had 11 years left, and my 401k wasn't where it needed to be for retirement at 62 like Linda and I had planned. When I walked through the front door, Linda was in the kitchen reading something on her tablet. She took one look at my face and set it down immediately. "Dave, what happened? You look pale. I got fired." Austin walked into my office at 2 p.m. and handed me termination papers. Linda's been my wife for 27 years. She's seen me through 8 years in the Air Force, through all-nighters when systems crashed, through crises that would have broken other marriages. But this was different. The financial pressure was real this time. "Why would he do that?" she asked, moving closer. "Are you okay?" "You're breathing funny." I realized I was taking shallow breaths, the way I did when the chest tightness started. "I'm fine, just stressed. Austin's trying to cut me out before my bonus pays. He thinks he's saving $180,000. I sat down at the kitchen table, and Linda brought me a glass of water. "Take your medication, Dave. Dr. Rodriguez said stress like this could trigger an episode." I pulled out the pill bottle and took another metoprolol, even though I'd had one an hour earlier. "Linda, he just triggered the Henderson clause. In 60 hours, I'll own Guardian Protocol outright, not Patriot." Me. She was quiet for a moment, processing what that meant. Linda had been through enough crisis meetings over the years to understand the implications. What about the merger? Dead without Guardian Protocol. Fortress Security is buying us specifically for that system. Without it, there's no deal. Linda studied my face with the expression she got when she was worried about my health. 3 months ago, Dr. Rodriguez had been very clear about my condition. The stress-induced cardiomyopathy was manageable with medication, but only if I eliminated the major stressors in my life. He'd specifically mentioned early retirement. "Dave, you've given them 25 years. What about Sarah's wedding deposit? What about Tommy's college applications? What about the promise you made me about reducing stress?" That hit harder than the termination. I knew she was right. The chest pains had been getting worse, especially during the merger negotiations. Linda had been finding me awake at 3 a.m. sitting in my office chair, hand pressed to my chest. "I know what I promised," I said. "Do you? Because you've been talking about stepping back for 3 years, and you're still there every weekend, every holiday. This is different." "How?" "Because Hawk trusted me to protect what we built, and Austin just tried to destroy it because he didn't bother reading the contract he's supposed to be managing." Linda reached across and took my hand. She could feel my pulse racing under her fingers, then finish it. "But when this is over, we're taking that Alaska trip we've talked about for 10 years. No phones, no emergencies, no excuses. Deal." "And Dave?" She squeezed my hand tighter. "If you have another episode during this, if your chest starts acting up, you call Dr. Rodriguez immediately. This isn't worth dying over." I went upstairs to my home office and powered up my secure workstation. The familiar hum of the encrypted drives spinning up was somehow comforting. A countdown timer appeared on the screen, red numbers ticking down. 59 hours, 42 minutes, 18 seconds. Let me tell you about Colonel Henderson and why this mattered so much. I met Hawk Henderson 25 years ago when I was 29, fresh out of my Air Force stint doing cybersecurity for Ramstein Air Base in Germany. Patriot Defense was nothing back then, just a converted warehouse in Springfield with 12 engineers trying to build cyber defense systems for military contracts nobody else wanted to touch. Hawk saw something in me that first day. Maybe it was the discipline from my 8 years in the service, or maybe it was that we both believed the same thing. If you're going to build something that protects people's lives, you build it right and you protect the people who help you do it. Over the years, I became the guy they called when everything was falling apart. In 2019, when that Chinese APT group hit the Eastern power grid through compromised SCADA systems, I was the one who stayed up 72 hours straight rebuilding our protocols from bare metal. The entire Eastern seaboard could have gone dark. We stopped the Cascade failure with 11 minutes to spare. When the Pentagon needed quantum-resistant encryption for the systems controlling our nuclear facilities, I designed Guardian Protocol from the ground up. When our biggest client, a 3-letter agency I can't name, demanded 0-day patches delivered in 24 hours, I had them deployed in 18. I didn't do it for recognition or awards. I did it because that's what you do when you're part of something that actually matters, something bigger than quarterly profit reports and stock prices. The chest tightness was coming back. I opened my desk drawer and looked at the pill bottle. Dr. Rodriguez had been very specific about the dosage. No more than 2 tablets in a 4-hour period unless it was an emergency. I was already at my limit, but the stress was building like pressure in a boiler. 15 years ago, Hawk asked me to meet him at Murphy's Steakhouse near the Pentagon. It was a Thursday night, both of us exhausted from a week spent containing a breach at Norfolk Naval Base. Over bourbon, Maker's Mark, his favorite, he told me he'd written something into my contract that nobody else knew about. "Dave," he said, swirling the ice in his glass, "I've been in this business long enough to see what happens when the wrong people take control. They gut everything that made a place worth working for. I won't let that happen to what we've built here." He explained the clause then. My annual performance bonus wasn't just compensation, it was a legal trigger embedded in my employment contract. Once Patriot's payroll system confirmed payment, the intellectual property rights for Guardian Protocol would automatically transfer to me through a separate escrow agreement he'd already executed. "You'll own it outright," Hawk said. "Nobody can steal it, sell it to the wrong buyer, or run it into the ground for short-term profits." I remember setting down my glass and staring at him. "Hawk, that's your life's work. Guardian Protocol is worth millions. No, it's our life's work, and I trust you to protect it more than I trust any board of directors or some Harvard MBA who's never written a line of code in his life." At the time, I thought he was being paranoid. Patriot was growing, the contracts were solid, and Charles Lawson seemed like a decent enough CEO. But Hawk had survived 2 tours in Vietnam and built this company from nothing. He knew how to see threats before they materialized. "What if something happens to you?" I asked. Then you'll know what to do. You always have. Hawk passed away 3 years later from a heart attack. Massive coronary at his desk on a Sunday morning, probably triggered by the same kind of stress I was feeling right now. The irony wasn't lost on me. Now, sitting at my desk watching that countdown timer, I finally understood what he'd seen coming 15 years before it happened. He'd built a failsafe into the system, and Austin Lawson had just activated it without even knowing it existed. I checked my security protocols through the encrypted connection. All credentials valid, encryption keys untouched, no unauthorized access attempts in the past 72 hours. Austin and his IT team hadn't even tried to breach the system yet. They were probably still congratulating themselves on how cleanly they'd handled my termination. The Guardian protocol source code was distributed across 7 different secure servers, each requiring my biometric authentication to access. Even if they managed to crack one server, they'd only get fragments. The complete system existed in one place, my encrypted backup drives, secured with military-grade quantum encryption that would take the NSA's supercomputers about 200 years to break. Then I set up the automated email that would change everything. The system was elegant in its simplicity. If my employment status wasn't reconfirmed and my licensing rights weren't renewed before the 60-hour deadline, an email would automatically send to 3 specific recipients at Fortress Security Group. The message I'd programmed was direct. As of Thursday, 2:00 p.m. EST, Patriot Defense Systems will no longer hold valid licensing rights to Guardian Protocol, central to the Fortress integration. Please review Section 12 of the merger agreement for key personnel continuity requirements. Section 12. The clause that Austin had never bothered to read. It listed 3 people as essential to the merger completion, people whose departure would give Fortress the right to delay, renegotiate, or walk away entirely from the deal. My name was first on that list. The email would send automatically at 2:01 p.m. Thursday if nothing changed. No dramatic button to push, no last-minute heroics, just a quiet notification that would tear apart everything Austin had been promising the board for the past 8 months. I went back downstairs and found Linda making dinner, pot roast with carrots and potatoes, the kind of comfort food she cooked when she knew I was stressed beyond my normal limits. "How are you feeling?" she asked, studying my face. "Chest is tight, but manageable. The medication is helping." "Dave, I'm serious about calling Dr. Rodriguez if this gets worse. I know, it won't come to that." We ate dinner mostly in silence, both of us thinking about what the next 56 hours would bring. Sarah called halfway through the meal, excited about her final semester and the internship she'd landed at a consulting firm in D.C. I managed to sound normal, asked about her classes, told her we loved her. I didn't mention that her wedding fund might be in jeopardy, or that her old man had just declared war on his own company. The next morning, I woke up before sunrise with that familiar tightness in my chest. Linda was still asleep beside me, but I could tell from her breathing she'd been awake most of the night too. 27 years of marriage teaches you things like that. I made coffee and sat on the back deck, watching the sun come up over our neighborhood in Fairfax. Normal Tuesday morning, neighbors heading off to work, kids waiting for school buses, none of them knowing that in 38 hours, the biggest defense merger of the year would implode because a 32-year-old thought he was smarter than the system. My phone had been buzzing since 6:00 a.m. When I finally checked it at 8:30, there were 12 missed calls from numbers I didn't recognize. Financial reporters mostly. Word travels fast in the defense industry, especially when it involves personnel changes at companies in the middle of major mergers. I listened to one voicemail from a reporter at Defense Industry Weekly. She'd heard rumors about key personnel departures at Patriot and wanted my comment. I deleted it and sent her a simple email instead. Ask them about Section 12 of the merger agreement. That's all it took. Within 2 hours, Fortress Security's legal team was demanding answers from Patriot about key personnel continuity requirements. The questions they were asking would make Charles Lawson very uncomfortable very quickly. At 11:47 a.m., my inbox chimed with a new message from Patricia Walsh, Fortress's lead counsel. The subject line was marked Urgent, Merger Compliance. She wanted to talk immediately. I called her back from my home office, watching the countdown timer tick past the 24-hour mark. 35 hours, 13 minutes, 22 seconds. "Mr. Patterson, thank you for taking my call. We've had some questions raised about the merger agreement, specifically Section 12, regarding key personnel continuity." I kept my voice level and professional. Section 12 is your key personnel continuity clause. You should have the original agreement on file. Yes, we do. But there's been some concern raised about licensing validity if certain essential personnel are no longer with Patriot during the integration phase. No concern on my end, I said. The language in Section 12 is explicit. Without my continued involvement, the licensing rights for Guardian Protocol don't remain with Patriot Defense Systems. Silence on the other end. I could hear papers shuffling, probably lawyers scrambling to find the exact wording. Mr. Patterson, can you confirm whether those licensing rights are currently valid and in force? The licensing certificate was last validated while I was a Patriot employee. My employment status changed yesterday at 2:00 p.m. If you need current certification, you'll have to request that directly from Patriot's legal department. She let out a breath I could hear through the phone. Understood. Thank you for your time. 20 minutes later, my email exploded. Someone at Fortress had accidentally CC'd me on an internal email chain, and I could see their entire legal team in full panic mode. Patricia had sent an urgent request to Patriot demanding immediate proof of current ownership for Guardian Protocol. Her email was direct and unforgiving. Per Section 12 of the merger agreement, the departure of David Patterson from Patriot employment raises substantial concerns about intellectual property licensing validity. Provide current certification showing active, uncontested ownership of Guardian Protocol by close of business today, or Fortress reserves the right to invoke delay provisions. The forwarded chain also showed that Tony Rodriguez, one of our senior engineers, had been copied on the request. Tony was good people, 34 years old, MIT graduate, and loyal in a way that's rare in this business. I'd been training him for 4 years, teaching him not just the technical work, but how to think like a systems architect. An hour later, Tony called me. Mr. Patterson, I wanted you to know what's happening over here. What's that, Tony? Austin called me into his office this morning, offered me Senior VP of Engineering, $165,000 salary, plus equity. Said I could start immediately and take over the Guardian Protocol development. I waited, knowing Tony well enough to let him finish. I told him I don't work for titles or money. I work for people who've earned my respect through competence, not connections. Then I walked out. Something in my chest loosened for the first time in 24 hours. You didn't have to do that, Tony. That's a good offer. Yeah, I did have to. You taught me that integrity matters more than salary bumps. I'm not forgetting that because some nepotism hire is waving a bigger paycheck. I appreciate it more than you know. One more thing, sir. Austin had IT try to access your old workstation and the Guardian Protocol development servers. They couldn't get past the biometric locks. Security also swept your office for any remaining drives or documentation. They won't find anything useful. That's what I figured. Just wanted you to know he's in full panic mode. After we hung up, I sat back and thought about what Tony had said. Austin was scrambling, trying every angle he could think of, but it was too late. The legal trigger was already in motion, and no amount of desperation could stop what was coming. That afternoon, the news broke across the financial networks. Patriot Defense Systems stock dropped 18% in a single trading session. The headline scrolling across CNBC read, "Defense Merger Uncertainty. Key licensing questions raise investor concerns. Patriot declines comment." I watched it unfold from my home office, knowing that inside Patriot headquarters, it would be absolute chaos. Emergency board meetings, lawyers scrambling, Austin trying to explain to his father how a simple cost-cutting measure had just wiped out $180 million in market cap overnight. Charles Lawson would be demanding answers that Austin couldn't provide. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "We need to talk. This situation can be resolved to everyone's benefit." That was Charles Lawson himself. I recognized the careful corporate speak. He'd been in enough crisis situations to know when it was time to negotiate. But I didn't respond immediately. Some conversations are worth making them ask twice. Another news alert came through on my phone. Fortress Security Group requests 48-hour extension for merger review due to regulatory compliance verification requirements. That was corporate language for we're trying to figure out if this deal is completely screwed. The translation was simple. Fortress was buying time while their lawyers figured out whether they could complete the merger without Guardian Protocol, or if they needed to renegotiate the entire deal. Either way, Austin's timeline had just been thrown out the window. I checked the countdown. 26 hours, 7 minutes, 15 seconds. Linda found me in my office around dinner time. How are you feeling? You've been up here for 6 hours. I realized my chest had been tight for most of the afternoon, but the medication was keeping it manageable. Better, actually. The hard part's almost over. Dave, I've been thinking about what happens after Thursday. Win or lose, I want you to promise me something. What's that? Promise me you'll call Dr. Rodriguez and schedule that stress test he's been asking for. Promise me we'll seriously talk about early retirement, not just talk about talking about it. I looked at her standing in the doorway, worried about her husband of 27 years who'd been carrying the weight of this company on his shoulders for too long. I promise. Both things. That night I barely slept, not from stress this time, but from anticipation. At 6 a.m. Wednesday, I was back at my computer watching the countdown. 8 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. The call came at 8:47 a.m., Austin's number flashing on my screen. I let it ring 5 times before answering. Dave Patterson. Dave, where the hell have you been? His voice was raw, probably hadn't slept in 48 hours. Fortress's legal team has been calling non-stop. They said they spoke to you. What exactly did you tell them? Good morning to you too, Austin. Don't start with me. They're acting like there's some major problem with Section 12. What did you say to them? Have you actually read the merger agreement you signed? The silence stretched long enough that I could hear other voices in the background, probably the emergency command center they'd set up. I've reviewed all the key sections, he said finally. I'd recommend reading Section 12 in its entirety, especially the subsections about licensing validity and key personnel requirements. Dave, this isn't a game. They want proof of ownership for Guardian Protocol, and we can't locate the current licensing certificate. Which vault system are you checking? The main legal repository. I almost smiled. That's interesting. Last time I checked, Guardian Protocol licensing was maintained in a separate secure system with restricted administrative access. The system you controlled? I glanced at my monitor. 5 hours, 13 minutes, 51 seconds. Austin, that would require me to still be employed by Patriot Defense Systems. As of Monday at 2:00 p.m., I'm not. I could hear him moving around, probably pacing the conference room. Dave, just tell me where the certificate is located. If you can't produce current valid licensing certification, I said quietly, Fortress will invoke the delay clause under Section 12. That's a minimum 6-month extension, possibly longer, and during that time, they'll reassess whether this merger serves their strategic interests. Damn it, Dave! The shout was loud enough that I had to pull the phone away from my ear. This is my career we're talking about. Yes, it is. Neither of us spoke for a moment. Then he tried a different approach, voice softer and more desperate. Look, if we can work something out, if I can convince the board to reverse the termination decision. I'm not coming back, Austin, but you really should read that contract. All of it. I ended the call and sat back in my chair. Linda appeared in the doorway with a cup of coffee. How much longer? She asked. About 5 hours. At exactly 2:00 p.m. Thursday, I was sitting at my desk watching the countdown hit 0. The screen flashed. Transfer complete. Licensing rights updated. No alarms, no fanfare, just a simple notification and a PDF document that appeared on my screen. I opened it and read the updated licensing certificate for Guardian Protocol. Owner, David C. Patterson, individual contractor. 25 years of work, now legally mine. I downloaded the file, saved it in 3 separate encrypted locations, and sent a 1-line email to my attorney. It's done. Rights transferred successfully. His response came back within minutes. Congratulations, you now own it outright. Nobody can challenge the transfer. My phone had been off since morning, but when I turned it back on 2 hours later, it had exploded. 67 missed calls, 134 text messages, voicemail box completely full. The news had already broken across every financial network. Patriot Defense merger collapses. Fortress Security Group withdraws $320 offer, citing unresolvable IP licensing conflicts. The press release from Fortress was professionally brutal. After thorough legal review, Fortress has determined that essential intellectual property rights cannot be guaranteed under current ownership structures. We are withdrawing our acquisition offer effective immediately. One text message stood out from Tony Rodriguez. Sir, I saw the news. Fortress is requesting direct meetings with you about Guardian Protocol licensing. Does this mean what I think it means? I called him back. It means I'm starting a consulting company, and if you're interested, I'd like you to be my technical director. Absolutely, sir. When do we start? 30 days. Linda and I are taking that Alaska trip we've been promising ourselves for 10 years. You earned it, Mr. Patterson. That evening, Charles Lawson called me directly. His voice sounded aged by the past 3 days. Dave, I owe you a profound apology. I was completely blind to what Austin did. If there's any way to repair this situation. I thought about that for a long time. Charles wasn't a bad man, just a father who'd trusted his son's judgment when he should have trusted experience. I appreciate that, Charles. But it's time for both of us to move forward. Good luck with the restructuring you'll need to do. The financial aftermath was swift and merciless. Patriot's stock went into freefall, down 34% total over 3 days. Analysts called it one of the most preventable merger collapses in defense industry history. Austin's resignation was announced Friday morning, along with the departure of 3 other executives. 2 weeks later, Linda and I loaded up our truck and headed north toward Alaska. We'd rented a cabin on Lake Clark, 200 miles from the nearest cell tower. No internet, no phones, nothing but mountains and water, and the kind of silence I hadn't experienced in 25 years. The drive took us 4 days through Canada. Somewhere near Whitehorse, my phone stopped getting signal, and I realized I didn't miss it. When we reached the cabin, I stood on the wooden dock and looked out at the lake. Perfect mirror reflection of snow-capped peaks, like nature's version of the clean slate I'd been looking for. Linda came up beside me and took my hand. "You did it," she said. "We did it. I couldn't have survived the stress without you monitoring my health. So what now? Now I go fishing. I remember what it feels like to breathe without checking my watch every 5 minutes. And in 30 days, Tony and I start Patterson Defense Consulting with a very select client list. And then 3 years of part-time consulting, then full retirement at 57. No more 60-hour weeks, no more emergency calls at 2 a.m. Linda smiled and squeezed my hand. I'm holding you to that promise. 3 weeks into our Alaska trip, my satellite phone rang with a call from the Pentagon. I almost didn't answer, but old habits die hard. Mr. Patterson, we have a critical infrastructure situation. Chinese APT group has penetrated the Western power grid, and we need Guardian protocol deployed immediately. I'll have my team contact you. Tony Rodriguez will coordinate the response. He's fully certified on Guardian protocol architecture. But sir, we specifically requested your personal involvement. Tony's better than good. He's the future of this business. Trust him. I hung up and went back to the porch where my grandson Jake was trying to tie a proper fishing knot. He was 11 years old, all concentration and determination, reminding me of myself at that age. I showed him how to loop the line properly, the same way my grandfather had taught me 45 years ago. Grandpa, did you really used to protect the whole country's computers? Sort of. I built systems that kept important things safe. Power plants, communication networks, things people depend on every day. Are you going to do it again? I thought about that while watching him work on the knot. I'm going to teach other people how to do it even better than I did. And then I'm going to retire and take you fishing a lot more often. He grinned and held up his perfectly tied knot. Deal. That night, Linda and I sat on the dock watching the northern lights dance across the sky. The kind of light show you only see when you're far enough from civilization to remember what really matters. Any regrets? She asked. About leaving Patriot? None. About how it ended? Maybe. I wish Austin had just taken the time to read the contracts he was signing. Would have saved everyone a lot of pain and money. You think he learned anything from this? I hope so, but that's not my responsibility anymore. Linda leaned against my shoulder. Hawk would be proud of what you did. Yeah, I think he would. He always said the most important thing wasn't the technology we built, but making sure it ended up in the right hands. 60 hours. That's all it took to change everything. Austin thought he was cutting costs and modernizing the company. What he actually did was hand me my future and prove that 25 years of loyalty, competence, and actually reading the fine print still matters. I'm 54 years old. I've got exactly 3 years of high-level consulting ahead of me, then complete retirement, and somewhere in a Virginia boardroom, there's a very expensive lesson being learned about the difference between inherited authority and earned respect. Some people can't be replaced, not because they're irreplaceable, but because they spent 25 years earning the right to be essential.